Good morning, my favorite people. How are we all doing today? Happy Friday. Happy Friday feeling. Happy end of the Great Kindness Challenge. I am doing this to you right now on Friday morning. I'm still home. It's kind of early, and I was hoping that we would catch a sunrise, but I think the only thing you're going to see behind me is my own reflection. So I hope it's not too distracting for you all, but we're going to work with it. Also, want to show you my shirt for today because it is pajama day. Mine says, wildly unprepared for the day. Sometimes, even grown-ups feel unprepared for what's ahead. We don't really know what's going to be coming, and we have to roll with it as best as we can. So I hope all of you are able to do that today. I hope I'm able to do that today. I'm sure we're going to get through it together. So, few things before we get into some mindfulness moments that I really like us to do together today. I want to congratulate all of you on completing our Great Kindness Challenge week. I have to say, it warms my heart so much every time we get to this week or we get to one of these celebrations around school, and you guys really step it up. You do extra kind things for our staff members, for each other, for our community. I cannot wait until Monday morning because on Monday we're having almost like a Monday feels that doesn't really work. We're having like a Monday. I can't think of anything. You'll have to let me know if you come up with something, guys. But on Monday morning, maybe a Monday morning meeting. There you go, Monday morning meeting for the whole school. Almost like an extended Panther Pride, because if you remember last week, this past week rather, we ran out of time. Mrs. Bammer and I planned too much stuff for our Panther Pride meeting, and it started to run into fourth grade lunch, and we really didn't want to leave fourth grade out of the celebration. So we paused our meeting for the moment, and on Monday, in just a few days, we're going to resume. Now, we're not going back in the gym. It's going to be Mrs. Bammer and I, kind of this style, though Mrs. Bammer's not going to be at my house. That'd be kind of strange, but we'll be at school doing it together. And at this meeting, we are going to collect your red tickets. So I know a few of you in the hallway have been stopping and being like, Mrs. Heffler, where are we supposed to bring our red tickets? Don't worry, guys. We are collecting them. We are going to be collecting them live on Monday morning. So when Mrs. Bammer and I are broadcasting out, you'll be bringing them down to whatever location we're at in the school, to be determined. I will be telling you then, and hopefully you'll be able to tell by the background that we're at. So we'll be collecting those. We are also going to be announcing our house winners for the month of January. So we'll get to announce that and celebrate with them, whoever they may be. I still don't know who the house winners are because we're still collecting donations, and I'm going to be collecting your Great Kindness Challenge checklist. Whew, that is a mouthful. Great Kindness Challenge checklist. So for every checklist that is completed, it is going to earn your house an additional 10 points. Those checklists are pretty intense, especially for my older kids. There's a lot of stuff on there. Now, as always, I want you to be honest. I don't want you to lie just because you wanted to earn those 10 extra points. It's not that big of a deal. What's much more important to me is that we're being honest about whether or not we did these things, and checking them off only if we've actually completed them. All right? A little bit easier for my kindergartners and first graders since you guys have, I think, just 12 things that you had to do. I love so much walking around the school this week and seeing you do kind things for people like our staff members, our secretaries, I should say, Mrs. Ficker, Mrs. Sorrentino, Mrs. Bartels. You guys have done so many nice things for some of our other staff members too. I know our cafeteria workers got some posters from some of you. So it really has warmed my heart to see us being so kind to each other. But I wanted to touch on something really important. Before I move on, let me just make sure that I covered everything. So we have Panther Pride Monday, red tickets, house announcements. I think that's it. Okay, so moving right along. At our Panther Pride meeting, Mrs. Bammer, when we were talking about Great Kindness Challenge, brought up one of my favorite points about a week like this. Because we get to the end of this week and we're all like, whoa, yeah, we did it. We made kindness happen. And then next week, it's like crickets. Like, I wish I had that sound effect right now, the little chirp, 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 chirp. We stop. And then we go back to fighting with each other, or arguing with each other, or just not going out of our way to be kind, not going out of our way to spread kindness. And so I wanted to talk to you about that today. And as I was driving home yesterday, it kind of hit me, boom, that when we ask you to spread kindness, when we ask you to do a challenge like the Great Kindness Challenge, it's easy because it's 5 days. You have a list of things you just need to go in and check off. You can kind of do the things however you want to do them. Like maybe you made a poster, maybe you made a card, maybe whatever you did. But we're telling you what to do, essentially. We're being like, hey, guys, here's a checklist. Check them all off. Consider kindness done. But then when that ends, you have to do it on your own. And that's a lot harder. And it's also a lot harder because sometimes it is not an easy world to be kind in. I'm going to repeat that again so it can really sink into your brains this Friday morning. It is not always an easy world for us to be kind in. Sometimes we are faced with things, challenges, people that might not treat us super kindly, right? Not everyone is able to be kind in that moment. Maybe they're having a really tough day with something else and they kind of take it out on you. Maybe somebody else is just, they're not thinking of kindness and they're feeling some big uncomfortable emotions, like anger, sadness, frustration, whatever it might be. Our world isn't always the easiest to be kind. And I know that's kind of hard to hear. But I think it's the truth. And I think it's something that's really important for us to kind of acknowledge and think about as we're then being challenged to go out in the world and continue being kind. But the great thing about this, even though the world isn't always an easy place to be kind because of circumstance, because of unfortunate things, because of other people not always being the kindest, you guys, my kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth graders, my preschoolers, if you're watching, you guys are the next generation that can kind of shift things a little bit. You can move things a little bit more. You can be that change. You can choose kindness instead. But it's not always easy. And this message really, it's a little bit more for my older kids because I know as we get older, sometimes it's a little hard to be kind to one another. Sometimes we get frustrated with one another. Sometimes we get annoyed by other kids in our class or other people on our teams or whatever it might be. And grown-ups too, It is not always going to be easy for us to be kind. But if we make that choice, we are actively trying to make the world a better place. And I had a student come to me this week and say this to me. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was a third grade student. You might know who you are. But a third grade student came to me this week having kind of a problem and was like, you know what? I'm just going to fight him with kindness. I'm going to be as kind as I possibly can to other people. Maybe it wasn't third grade. It may have been another grade now that I'm thinking about it. But this student was like, I'm going to fight him with kindness. Now we're not actually fighting, right? But what the student meant was even if they're faced with a difficulty or someone else who maybe isn't being super kind in that moment, or maybe someone else who is having a tough day, they are still going to try their best to be as kind to them as possible. What a great idea, right? Because if someone's being not super nice to us, but we are just as kind to them as we can possibly be, genuinely kind, not like fake kind, not like, oh yeah, nice dress kind. That's not nice. If we're genuinely kind to that other person, it can change them. It is hard to be mean to someone who is actively being kind to you. It is challenging to continue to be mean or not nice or not friendly to someone who is being kind to you. Now, I don't want you to get kindness confused with friendship because not all of us can be friends, right? You're not going to be friends with every single person in our school. It would be awesome if we all could be, but it's not realistic. It's not real for us to think that we can be friends with 500 other people and everyone's going to like us at all the time. But it is realistic for us to think about being kind to everyone around us, whether they are a stranger, whether they are a classmate, whether they're our best friend, whether they're our mom, dad, brother, sister, whether they're our teachers. It is still possible for us to be kind to all of those other people at all times. And kindness it's such an important word because it ties into all of these other things that we talk about constantly. It ties into respect. It ties into helpfulness. It ties into empathy. I think of so many Student of the Month traits that Mrs. Bammer talks about at our Panther Pride meetings. They all tie into kindness. It's like we have one of those giant webs, like when we do a word web or an idea web in school. All of them come back to kindness. If we're being kind, we are being helpful to others. If we're being kind, we're being respectful to others. If we're being kind, we are showing empathy for others. We're thinking about how they might feel. It's such a simple word, and yet it's so challenging to do sometimes. It is. For everybody, myself included. It's not always easy. Sometimes we are just feeling grumpy. Sometimes we are just feeling upset. And in those moments, it can be tough to be kind. So my real kindness challenge to you is not the checklist you've done this week. That is not my real challenge for you. My real challenge for you, LPES, is to continue to be kind, is to make the active choice to be kind to others. It's not easy, but knowing all of you the way I do, I know you can do it. Even if not all the time, I know we can make that choice for ourselves to try and be a little bit kinder. So I hope you're able to do that. All right? I hope you're able to do that today, next week, the week after that. I hope if I replayed this episode in June, it would still ring true. It would still be something that we're working on, that we're trying our best to do. Okay. That being said, why don't you stand up? We're going to do something a little bit different. I've been talking for a while, and I have a story to read you, so why don't we all stand up together? Let's see if I could. Oh, don't want to break my computer. Okay. All right, here we go. All right, take your hands, put them on your hips. You should be behind your chair or next to your desk, wherever there's room that we're still giving other people space. I just learned this activity this week, and I've been doing it, and actually Miss Nazzaro's been doing it too with some of our first grade students, but I kind of love it. My older kids, I'm not going to make you say the words. My younger kids, I'd love you to say the words with me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a little foolish today. Take your hands, shake them out, shake them out, shake them out. All right. Loosen up those shoulders and put your hands on your hips. We're going to turn ourselves into little washing machines right now, and it's to wake up our bodies, wake up our core. As I'm sure you talk about with Mr. T sometimes, our core is really important for strength, but our core is also really important for getting our body engaged, and sometimes getting our body engaged can help get our mind engaged. So you put your hands on your hips, you're going to turn side to side. Just do this for a minute or two. I want you to listen. What you're going to hear, might be Mrs. Heffler's stomach growling. I haven't had breakfast yet. But what you might also hear is you might hear your breath kind of controlling itself, going in and out. All right. And so I told you we were going to be washing machines, right? So my younger kids, or my older ones too, because you're not too cool for this, all right, guys, is you're going to go wishy, washy, wishy, washy. Even if you're not saying it out loud because you're in 4th grade and you're too cool for Mrs. Heffler, you're going to go ahead and say it in your heads along with me. Wishy, washy, wishy, washy. And we're kind of just wringing out that core, really getting our body moving on this early morning Friday. All right, shake out our arms. Good. One of the reasons I want to get you up and moving today is because this is our first full week in a long time, I think. If my math is correct, I don't know if we've had a full regular week of school since the beginning of January, maybe even since before break. So it's been a long time for us. It's nice to kind of engage ourselves, move our bodies a little bit more. Since we're already standing, let's go ahead, take a big deep breath in. Stretch up towards the sky. I want you to reach one arm up a little bit higher. Reach the other arm up a little bit higher. Interlace your fingers like this above your head. We're going to go ahead and lean to one side. Doesn't really matter which one. If you lean to the left or the right, just make sure you're not banging into the person next to you. You should feel this stretch all the way down your body. Good. Take a deep breath in and bring it back up. Let it out. Other side. Nice job, my friends. All right, one more. Breathe in. Shake it out. Roll those shoulders out a little bit. Excellent. Good. We're still standing. That's okay. What we're going to do, we're going to just do a few more stretches, and we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose or mouth, whichever you prefer, into our bellies, though. That's the important thing. You're not breathing into your shoulders like this. That's not very comfortable. It's not going to help. But you're breathing into your bellies, filling up your lungs, filling up your back, almost like your whole body is a balloon. Your whole core is a balloon, like expanding. Okay, so big deep breath in. You can do this hand motion with me if you want, and out. Deep breath in. Hold it for a second, and out. Deep breath in. Hold it, and out. All right, one last one. Big deep breath in. We stretch up one more time. Reaching up high. You can even close your eyes for a second if you want to. Think about what you want for today, what your goal is for today, what your kindness goals might be for today or this weekend. Let it out. Okay, go ahead. Take your seats again. Okay. All right. Okay, my friends. Last thing I want us to talk about today on this mindful morning, on this Friday feeling morning, is I want us to talk about the importance of being kind to another really important person. And that's ourselves, not Mrs. Heffler, as I tap my own chest. No, ourselves, yourself. I want us to think about today what it's like for us to be kind to ourselves and the ways that we can do that. And they're pretty simple. The big one that I can think of is the way we talk to ourselves up here, right? Sometimes out here, maybe we're talking to ourselves doing, an activity or making a video. We're talking to ourselves. But I want you to think about, sorry, I feel like my light is going a little wonky. Okay. I want you to think about the ways that you talk to yourself today and the ways that we talk to ourselves in a way that's kind and in a way that is encouraging and helpful. Okay? We've done this activity before. I don't know if we've done it this year, but we definitely have done this on our Friday feelings in the past, where we talk about a positive message, or we talk about a bigger word, positive affirmation. Can you all say affirmation with me? Affirmation. Listen to it one more time. Affirmation. Say it one more time. Affirmation. All right. So a positive affirmation or a positive message to ourselves is a tiny short phrase that we can repeat to ourselves whenever things are hard or whenever we start to feel ourselves getting kind of down or beating ourselves up in our mind. So if I'm taking a math test later today and I am struggling to get the answer, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to remember Mrs. Heffler talking about these positive messages we're sending to ourselves, and I'm going to repeat that into my mind, whatever my positive message is. Yours can be different than mine. It could be the same if you need help coming up with one, but it could be different. The one that I always like to use is, I can do hard things. Okay? Now, if I'm in the middle of a math test, I'm not going to suddenly say out loud, I can do hard things. That would be strange, and you would be disrupting a lot of people around you. Instead, you're going to repeat it in your mind to yourself, instead of those other things that our brain sometimes likes to say, those really negative, tough things like, you're not smart enough, you can't do it, you'll never get it. When our brain starts to do that, because our brain can be kind of mean sometimes, it can be a little bit of a bully to us. What we need to do is we need to stop it and we need to change that thinking and replace it with something else that's more positive. So you're going to pause. You're going to take a deep breath whenever you're faced with this fear, or if you're having a problem with a friend, or if you're getting frustrated at home because mom's asking you to clean your room or dad's telling you to put your tablet away. What you're going to do is you're going to pause, and instead of reacting or instead of getting down on ourselves or getting really negative, you're going to pause, take a deep breath, and you're going to repeat a positive affirmation. It can be things like, we can do hard things. I can do hard things, whatever works for you. It could be things like, I know I can do it. I'm not giving up. It could be things about you in particular, like, I am kind. Oh, I like that one for this week. I am kind. I am kind. It could be things like, I'm a good person. Really, whatever you want it to be. And what works best, I think, is whatever your brain normally tells you that's kind of mean or negative, make it the opposite. So if your thing is sometimes your brain is telling you like, you can't get it, you're not smart enough, maybe telling ourselves something like, I'm going to try my best, or I can do this. It can be simple. We're not talking a novel here. You're not repeating a whole textbook back to yourself in your mind. Simple single phrase. Take a moment right now. I'm going to pause too. I'm going to focus on my breathing a little bit. And I'm going to think about what my positive affirmation is for this week. Okay? Or for today. Do you have one? I hope so. I hope you're able to come up with something kind to say to yourself. Because remember, we have to be kind to ourselves first before we can really be kind to those around us. If we're not being kind in here, it's going to be tough to be nice to others. LPES, I am so excited that we're wrapping up Great Kindness Challenge. I am really proud of all of you, of so many of you, for completing these lists, for trying to go above and beyond. And I'm excited to see what you do next. I'm excited for the next kindness challenge, which is to keep it going. So, as always, LPES, stay kind.